What up, though, Field G's, and welcome back to another episode of Luke G's Field Review. Now listen, people, this episode is going to be a little bit different, and the reason it's going to be different is because it's come to my attention that evil will always find its way to your doorstep. Now y'all may be asking yourself, well, Luke, what does that mean? Here's what that means. I once saw this quote that said the greatest trick the devil ever played on the world was making everyone believe he does not exist. But ladies and gentlemen, let me assure you that the devil is alive and well. And if you don't believe me, let me just start off by telling you there is a particular person who I won't even name. I can't give him that kind of airtime to put his name out there. The thought of even having it roll off my tongue is like literally putting your tongue on a 9-volt battery. Yes, my little dumb self did that when I was a kid. I'm merely making the point that this evil decided to rise up in the midst of me doing something good. And the sad part is, I knew that this evil was going to rise up with me doing something good. Now you may be saying, well, what was the good that you did, Luke? The good that I did was help out another fellow YouTuber by the name of Dose of Dion. And when I helped Dose of Dion out, I already knew that it was going to make me a target. But the benefit of being a target is you don't care when you bulletproof. So this individual is going around on my videos and any video he can, posting that I, Luke G, hacked Dose of Dion. Now here's what I find funny about this, ladies and gentlemen. He's going on all these pages to draw all this attention to me. Now, normally I don't pay any attention to this kind of trash. I just don't. But it's funny to me that all this happens the moment that I send out a heavy report to YouTube detailing how this particular incident with Dose of Dion and his channel being hacked and it's not being him, and reporting it to him. And out of nowhere comes this person who decides to try to go on every video and say I hacked him. And the funny part about it is he think y'all gonna believe him. I mean, think about this. Here's a guy who can barely edit a video appropriately, yet I know how to hack a computer. I mean, let's be honest about this, people. Before I even get into football, let me address this. I have said it once. I'll say it a second time. Make no mistake. If you come with that stupid stuff, and this is beyond stupid, I'm just going to add you to the block party. Makembe Mutombo style. And so you know I added him to the block party. Now, this person, you're going to see him put this out there. Okay? And the reason he's doing this is because not only have I started a campaign to destroy the hacked account of Dose of Dion, I'm trying to make it my personal mission to make sure that not only is that channel taken down, that the person who did it wasted his energy. Because he thought he destroyed another brethren. What he really did was created a whole new phoenix to rise up. See, this is what happened when you do good. Evil needs to show its face to remind you that it's not going to be easy. But again, I don't mind having the target on my back, especially when I'm bulletproof. The thing about it is this, people. When you see this idiot, don't engage him. He seeks attention. His channel has about 3 videos with him dressed like an idiot from Biodome. Do not give that brother no attention. Okay? Pay him no mind. In fact, pray for him. Then unleash the wolves on him. Because I believe what he's trying to do is deflect. You see, I didn't know anything about this particular subscriber or anything about this guy. He just popped up in my video with this stupid stuff. And when I saw that, it was at that moment I knew right then and there he messed up. Because he somehow thought that he had some power. Let me put this to the people who got some logical thinking brains. What sense would it make for me to hack Dose of Dion? What would be my reason or my logic or any motive that I would gain from this? And then turn around, report it, then spread the word that it's been hacked. All to do what? Look like a superhero? I'm too old for that, people. All I want you to do is be aware that there's an idiot out there. And like most idiots, they have followers. So there's a cult of idiots out there. Let this serve to that idiot as a warning that if you're going to attempt to deflect, at least do a better job of it. So enough of this. Let me get into the football, ladies and gentlemen, because there's a lot to be said about that. Oh my God, people. It's almost like people just want to give me material. So let's get right into it. First, let's start off with Michael Roberts. You know, clearly he was waived by the Packers for failing a physical, which I find funny. I mean, just think about it. He failed the physical with the Patriots, and not even a full 24 hours, the Packers pick him up, right? Like, what did they think was going to happen? Did they really think that whatever it was he failed on their physical, that it would pass on theirs? No. Let me just help you understand why I've been saying that Michael Roberts was going to be a sucker who was going to be licked by the Packers, okay? They have Jimmy Graham, Mercedes Lewis, and Jay Sternberger, okay? Where does Michael Roberts fit in with that tight end core? Like, where was his chance to make the team at? At fullback? I mean, seriously. So now the question becomes, who did they really bring him in for? You know, what was the logical thinking behind bringing this guy in? And the only thing I can come up with is so they can lick the sucker that he was. So he goes in, they probably had little talks with him, and when they probably realized he didn't know much about this new offense that we're running, all of a sudden he fails their physical. Now, this could be a conspiracy theory on every level. I get that. But I just find it odd that a guy who just failed the physical for New England in a trade and then cut by the Lions, now you want to pick him up not even 24 hours later like he's going to come through and do something for you. And as always, as my man CT would say, stick a quarter in your butt because you played yourself. Okay? At the end of the day, Green Bay know darn well that they were not trying to let this guy come in with a chance to earn a spot on the roster. They just wasn't. He was there to be an informant, and apparently he wasn't good at it. So guess what? He's waived again. It's just funny to me. Just funny to me. But let's go into my next segment. So Reggie Bush is talking about the Detroit Lions these days, right? I find this funny. So I had to talk about this because I want to make a point with Reggie Bush. See, Reggie Bush likes to make a lot of conversations. And here's how this whole thing started. So, you know, somebody tweeted something that says Reggie Bush and Drake Bell are the only teammates in NFL history to each accumulate 500 plus rushing yards and 500 plus receiving yards in the same season. And Reggie Bush response is, and then we got cut because they wanted to go cheaper, with the laughing with my tears in my eye emoji and the shoulder shrug. Well, Mr. Reggie Bush, let's really talk about what happened here, okay? Since you're talking, I figure I might as well talk about this thing of going cheap. See, here's the thing. Why would I pay you all this money to do the same things that I can get Amir Abdullah to do? You know, why not just pay Amir Abdullah to do your job? In fact, you were given an opportunity to take over the starting role at running back. Okay. And for some reason, you was unable to meet that obligation. Now, the thing that I often say about these types of things is, why can't we just simply focus on the facts and take the emotion out of it? Reggie Bush is one person that I think may be a little bit, and I do mean a little bit, salty about his time in Detroit. Okay. Now, some of you may say, well, Luke, that's not fair. How can you say that? Where did you get this belief from? Okay. Well, I'll tell you. Here's the fact. Before they picked up Reggie Bush, Drake Bell was given a chance to hold it down. And the thing that I noticed about Drake Bell was the same thing I noticed about Reggie Bush. When the ball was handed to him, nobody game planned for them. Heck, in fact, there was more game plan to stop Derrick than Reggie Bush. And that's saying something. Okay, now let's just put this all into perspective. Okay, if we're going to do this and do this the right way, I think the best way to do it is to focus on the facts. So Reggie Bush says they wanted to go cheap. Oh God, why'd you do this, Reggie? Why? We was minding our business over here, and here you come with this extra stuff, Reggie. Now, here's the thing, people. We all know that after they got rid of Reggie Bush, they brought in Amir Abdullah, they brought in Derrick, they brought in Zach Zenner. Who else am I forgetting? I'm trying to make sure I ain't forgetting nobody. Okay? Because I want to be fair about this. They brought in all these people, all right? And Reggie Bush is out here loving it, okay? Because according to him, they got cheap. So, let's really see how cheap they got, okay? Let's really explore this, people. Because I'm sick of people not taking accountability for what they do, okay? What they done is what they need to take accountability for. So let's just start off with this first part, okay? Now, Amir Abdullah, okay, he played in Detroit from 2015 to 2018. And Reggie Bush played 2 years in Detroit. Only 2 years, okay? But here's what I want you to see, all right? Reggie Bush is one of them guys that I just laugh at. He played 5 years in New Orleans. He started 41 games. He played in 60. He had 524 touches for 2,090 yards in 5 years. 5 years with New Orleans. He only amassed 2,000 yards of rushing. He had 17 touchdowns, and he had a 4-yard average, 34.8 yards a game in New Orleans. He comes over to Detroit. They give him, he starts 23 games, playing 25, gets 299 touches, 1,303 rushing yards, 6 touchdowns, averaged 4.4 yards and 52.1 yards rushing a game. Now, you may be saying to yourself, Luke, what that got to do with anything? Well, here, let me just tell you. Amir Abdullah played 3 seasons with the Detroit Lions, and surprisingly, in his 3 seasons, he had way more rushing yards than I'm not going to say way more. Let me be more clear about it. His rushing yard total was not that far off. Reggie Bush had 1,300 basically, okay? And he did that in 2 years. Amir Abdullah, who had 3 seasons to figure out life with the Detroit Lions, had 1250. So it wasn't like there's a huge significant drop, right? But here's the thing that I look at. You go through and you have to see that the touches on Amir Doodles was higher than that of Reggie Bush, but Reggie Bush was hurt majority of the time. And he's sitting up here acting like, oh, they went cheap to keep you. Let me just say something, people. What's the point of keeping somebody who is halfway in the game? And the guy that they brought in literally had the same production. Literally. Like, I wish I could make this up. He had the same production and they paid him less. Now, I'm not trying to be funny and advocate being cheap for life, but imagine if you can simply pay somebody $5 to change your oil, put on new tires, and give you a full tune-up. Would you rather take that or pay the mechanic who doing the same work $1,200? The thing that Reggie Bush didn't understand was he never brought a fear factor. He never brought let me game plan for Reggie Bush. Oh, Reggie Bush got the ball. Let me gear up the box to slow him down. Now, part of that is not his fault. It's coaching. Okay. The play calls was not there. And so it is what it is. Okay. Now, some of y'all gonna say, but Reggie Bush provided in the passing game. Okay. Well, that's what Derrick was brought in for. They essentially picked up 3 players to move on from Drake Bell and Reggie Bush. And 3 of the players that they picked up, Derrick already covered the passing part, so he did that better than Reggie Bush with the Lions, right? The rushing part between Zach Zenner and Amir Abdullah was better than Reggie Bush and Drake Bell. Now, granted, all of them are trash. My point I'm trying to make is this. Reggie Bush should shut up. Because if Reggie Bush want to talk about them going cheap, well, you spent 2 years, played in 31 games, started 31 games with the Miami Dolphins, and they moved on from you. Did they go cheap on you? Is that when they went cheap? You went to Buffalo, didn't do nothing. Got to San Francisco, didn't do nothing. In fact, since we talking about it, you had 443 touches in 2 years. And you still didn't rush for more yards than you did in 5 years of rushing with New Orleans Saints. Now, some of y'all may say, well, it's 5-3, it's 5-2. Here's the point I'm trying to make to y'all, people. He had 2,090 rushing in 5 years with the Saints, 2,072 with the Dolphins. He had 12 touchdowns with the Dolphins, 17 with the Saints, rushing. Right? But the difference between that was this. Even the Miami Dolphins said you just not bringing no factor. Nobody feared you. Nobody worried about you. You played majority of that career hurt and hobbled. And no one can care less about what happened there. I just want him to understand something. If you're going to try to take a shot at somebody, take a shot that makes sense. Don't get mad when the pupil passes the master. Don't get upset then. Get upset when you look up and realize that you squandered your opportunity. The Lions was looking for a game changer at running back. You just was not it. You didn't even have that same it factor that Javed Best had. Now in college, you was the man. Not gonna lie about that. But on that pro field, it was some questionable things going on. And whether you want to say it's coaching or whatever, then if you're going to call out the Lions, call out the rest of the teams who dumped you. The Saints dumped you and they drafted you. The Lions dumped you because they knew the same thing that everybody else knew. Why am I going to pay you this top dollar and I'm not getting top dollar running back play? Why? So for 2 years, paying you like a boss, I get 1,300 yards of rushing. You have got to be kidding me. I mean, why should I pay for that? Why should I pay for that? There's no reason. Your longest run with the Lions was 39 yards. 39 yards. Your longest run of your career came with the Miami Dolphins on a 76-yard scamper, and in 5 years, your longest run was 55 yards. Why would I pay that? Why? You averaged 8.7 touches a game in New Orleans, 12 touches again with Detroit, 14.3 with the Dolphins, and even the Dolphins didn't feel that you were a value pick. Yet you want to talk about the Lions being cheap. What did you offer these other teams after you left the Lions, since they been so cheap? He act like he left Detroit and turned into this grandstand Marshawn Lynch / Walter Payton, Sean McCoy type player. You wasn't even on the radar of a LaDainian Tomlinson. But you want to act like you so special. I just had to bring this to light because I think it's ridiculous when people say stupid stuff. Now let me get on to the next topic, people, because this next topic is something that me, TA of Noble Sports Entertainment, and Derrick P. Fields, the Gridiron Blitz, all had a conversation about off air. And one of the things was, the Gridiron Blitz did a video saying that the one thing or Bob Quinn failed at getting a backup quarterback for Matthew Stafford, and he talked about Tom Savage and stuff like that. Now, I took exception to this because if you're going to say that, then I think it's a poor argument, and I'll tell you what I mean. Now, this whole idea is going to be centered around with the same thing Gridiron Blitz said. He said that, in quote, we're not talking about no other teams, we're talking about the Lions. But here's where you have to understand. When you put a narrative out there, it needs to be a narrative that you don't see commonly across the NFL. Well, here's the problem with this. The issue is with him is, we should have had a better backup. So I decided to do a little research. And I decided to go through and look at every single team's backup and figure out who really do got a legitimate backup that could threaten the starter. So let's go through and take a look at this, people, because I keep telling people to do their research before they start talking, okay? Let's just take a minute to look at this. The Buffalo Bills starting quarterback is Josh Allen. Do you know who's backing him up? Matt Barkley. You know who they went out and picked up as an undrafted free agent? Tyree Jackson out of Buffalo. Is Matt Barkley a legitimate backup? Would the Lions be better with Matt Barkley? Let's just say Ryan Fitzpatrick is the starter in Miami. His backup is Josh Rosen, and we know what they traded to get him. But here's the funny thing about it. They traded Ryan Tannehill, who had a backup of who? Jake Rudock, a person that me and TA talked about, and TA felt was not given a fair shake. And when I made the point of, what did Jake Rudock do in Michigan that should have warranted him getting a chance to be drafted? Let alone giving a fair shake in Detroit. Nonetheless, let's just say hypothetically, Ryan Fitzpatrick is the starter, Josh Rosen is the backup. Okay, cool. Were you willing to give up your second? Were you willing to take a second round pick on a quarterback for a backup? Because I'm going to show you in a minute how that doesn't work out neither. But let's go and talk about the New England Patriots. Who's the backup to Tom Brady? Brian Hoyer? You're kidding me, right? You mean to tell me that Brian Hoyer is the backup to Tom Brady? I'm just wondering, as I get through the AFC East, how much of a failure is Bob Quinn looking like? The New York Jets starting quarterback is Sam Darnold. Trevor Siemian is the backup. Davis Webb and Luke Falk. Y'all, we not for real right now. Let's go ahead. Let's go to the AFC North. Baltimore Ravens starting quarterback is Lamar Jackson. Robert Griffin III is the backup, and Trace McSorley is a guy that they picked up who they're using as kick and punt return guy. They took a quarterback and turned him into a receiver, but going to try. I don't even want to get started. But okay, let's say you believe in Robert Griffin III. I don't, but you do. That's one team who got a legitimate backup. Let's see how many more do. Andy Dalton's the starter for the Bengals. Ryan Finley, Jeff Driscoll, and Jacob, I can't even pronounce his last name, Dolagala, are the backups. Are any of those better options than what the Lions got? Are these other teams failing? In case you don't get my point, let's keep going, okay? Let's go and look at the Browns. Baker Mayfield's the starter. You think if Baker Mayfield go down, Drew Stanton coming in, keeping things afloat? You think Garrett Gilbert is keeping things afloat? Come on now. Come on, really? Really? What if Ben Roethlisberger go down? You think Mason Rudolph coming in, keeping things afloat? Joshua Dobbs is keeping things afloat? We've seen what that looked like. Let's go to the AFC South. Because according to the Gridiron Blitz, Bob Quinn has failed to get a backup quarterback. And right now, I've already went through 2 divisions, okay, to show you that, hey, it ain't just the Lions. This ain't a Lions issue. If that's his biggest fail, he's in line with the rest of the GMs and managers, including one of the greatest head coach / GMs there is, Bill Belichick. But let's look at the Houston Texans. If Deshaun Watson go down, AJ McCarron finna carry him? How about Joe Webb? Seriously. Let's say you do like AJ McCarron. That's 2 teams. Let's go to the coast. If Andrew Luck go down, Jacoby Brissett taking over? Chad Kelly taking over? Phillip Walker who taking over? So you okay with Jacoby Brissett? Okay, that's 3 teams. The Jacksonville Jaguars got Nick Foles as the starter. His backup, Tanner Lee, Gardner Minshew, and Alex McGowan. They coming in taking over? Okay. Let's go down to the Titans. They got Marcus Mariota, and their backup could be Ryan Tannehill. I mean, I've seen Ryan Tannehill. You think he coming in taking over? Okay. You think that's where we at now? I just want to make sure we clear about this. According to the Gridiron Blitz, this guy is failing. Okay, he's failing. But let's just say you like him. That's 4 teams, right? That's 4 teams. Let's give him that 4th team. Let's go down to the Denver Broncos, and this is why I say you want to waste draft picks on trying to find a backup, but the backup needs to be adequate. How many players did they draft trying to find the right quarterback, let alone a backup to the quarterback? They went out and traded for Joe Flacco. Then they drafted Drew Lock. Then they already had Kevin Hogan and Brett Ripon. So my thing is this. If Joe Flacco go down, is Drew Lock really finna come in and be the savior? Really? Really, this what we doing? What about with Patrick Mahomes? Because everybody is on the Patrick Mahomes trade, right? So clearly Kansas City got a good backup. If Patrick Mahomes go down, they got a good backup, right? Who did they go and get? Chad Henne. What? Chad Henne? Okay, well, that's not the point. What about Chase Littleton? He could come in and do something. Kyle Schumer could come in and do something, right? Tell me. Okay, well, let's go down to the Chargers. If Phillip Rivers go down, can Tyrod Taylor keep them afloat? I believe he could. He certainly would do it better than Cardale Jones, Easton Sticks. So we'll give him 5 teams. So we got 5 teams so far out of 32. All right, 5 teams. Let's keep this thing going. The Oakland Raiders starting quarterback is Derek Carr. Mike Glennon is the backup. Nathan Peterman is their backup. We got our own media people trying to say that Bob Quinn failed to get a backup quarterback. And look at these other teams. I'm not even done. Let's get to the NFC. Who's the backup to Dak Prescott if he goes down? Cooper Rush. Y'all for real? Cooper Rush and Mike White? All right, well, we know that if Eli Manning goes down, they already drafted their Aaron Apparent and Daniel Jones. But what if he go down? Kyle LaLoita? Alex Tanning? Oh, y'all still don't get the point yet. Carson Wentz go down. Who's backing him up? Nate Stubblefield? What? Clayton Thornton? Cody Kessler? All right, okay. But let's just say that they make Dwayne Haskins in Washington the starter. Can Case Keenum keep him afloat? Sure. Colt McCoy? So we go 6 teams on that one. Okay? We give him 6. I just want y'all to see it. If Mitch Trubisky go down, is Chase Daniel going to keep him afloat? Tyler Bray? No. Aaron Rodgers go down. Deshaun Kaiser is going to keep them afloat. Manny Wilkins, Tim Boyle, nope. Kirk Cousins go down. Sean Mannion, Kyle Slaughter, Jake Browning, they going to keep them afloat? Nope. So not only are we talking about the Lions having a weak backup, I mean, but let's be honest. At best, they got the second best, if not the first best backup in the division. I don't want Deshaun Kaiser being my backup. I've seen him. He did not look good. Who is Sean Mannion? And why is he still on the team? Now, I know somebody going to say, but Chase Daniel beat the Lions. And Chase Daniel lost his job to Mitchell Trubisky. I'm just trying to figure this out because, we going to talk about it. Right? Let's go down to the NFC North. If Matt Ryan get hurt, Matt Shaw coming in and holding it down? Nope, they tried that experiment. What about Kurt Benkert? Yeah, I know who. Good point. What happens if Cam Newton goes down? They just brought in Will Greer, so I'm hoping he can show up. I think he's a good player, but they back up before then was Tyler Haneke. Like, really? Drew Brees go down, they got Teddy Bridgewater. If Bridgewater go down, they got Tyson Hill and JT Barrett. But we'll give them 7 teams. Okay? 7 teams. Alright? If Jameis Winston go down, their backup is Blaine Gabbert. You got to be kidding me, right? Ryan Griffin, Nick Fitzgerald. All right, come on, let's keep going, people. If Kyler Murray goes down for the Cardinals, who's his backup? Brett Hundley, Chad Canoff, Drew Anderson. But we talking about the Lions fella. If Jared Goff goes down, guess who his backup is? You're going to love this one. Blake Bortles. Oh my God. We're talking about the Lions general manager failing at getting a backup, and I'm naming players, and I guarantee you're listening saying, wow, that's pretty bad. If Jimmy Garoppolo go down, y'all believe Nick Mullins is gonna hold it down? CJ Beathard? Wilton, I can't even put them, but Spade. If Russell Wilson goes down, Paxton Lynch is his backup, and Geno Smith. If, and I do mean if, all right, if Bob Quinn is failing, then that means that more than half of the league is failing with him. If I were to give you 7 teams, just to be fair, 7 teams that have a backup quarterback. 7 out of 32. Take that for a moment. 7 out of 32 teams. Okay? I just want y'all to understand this. More than half the league is failing. And we're talking about Bob Quinn. Yeah. So when we had this conversation, I disagreed with them. We're going to probably do it again because we're going to have to put this on the show so y'all can see the argument, because we had a nice conversation. And I tried to make the point to them that if we're going to talk about them being failures, then let's talk about the rest of the teams. Because the truth is there aren't a lot of good backups out there. There are not a lot of people who can threaten the starting position of their starters. It just isn't. And as unfortunate as it is, in Washington, they're going to probably start Case Keenum, and Dwayne Haskins is going to sit for a little bit. But we know that Dwayne Haskins is meant to be the starter. We know that Josh Daniels is meant to be the replacement for Eli Manning. But if right now the Cowboys don't pay Dak Prescott, you think they're trying to go into the season with Cooper Rush? Seriously, if Patrick Mahomes get hurt, you think the Kansas City Chiefs is gonna stay alive with Chad Henne? Just saying, people. If you're going to criticize them fairly. Now, let's get to my next topic, because there was a segment where we did a round table, and I noticed that some people heard me say that even if the Lions win the Super Bowl, I'm still going to have to be critical and fair about what I see on the field. And they took that as me saying I'm unsatisfied. No. What I'm saying is this, people, that I celebrate just like you, because it's a Super Bowl. We won a championship. You celebrate. But the moment that the parade is over, I'm immediately going to go back and say these things cannot happen if we are to repeat. Because the question is going to be, can they defend said title? And I want to be able to have a team that turns into a dynasty. Okay, I want to be able to do something that looks like it shouldn't be done, but it does. The New England Patriots wasn't supposed to be this dynasty team, and it turned into one. I want to be that. And every year after they win the Super Bowl and the parade is over, they're jumping right back into it, talking about what they did bad in the Super Bowl. See, this is what happens when you just look at the results. This is what happens when you just focus on, oh, well, we get the championship. It doesn't stop there. If that's the case, we wouldn't be on Super Bowl, what, 1 billion? Let's be honest. The Detroit Lions have to have a standard to maintain if they win that Super Bowl. And to me, I have to maintain my standard of being unbiased. Win it, I'll celebrate with them. But at the end of the day, I'm going to still go back and look at, God, man, we got to break here or we got to break there, or yeah, next year we can't do this. This is not going to work next year. How are they adjusting? Those are the things I'm going to look at. Okay. Now, I just wanted to bring that up because I know that some of y'all don't understand the way I think, but the way I think is very logical. Okay. And the logical says this: when a team wins a Super Bowl, the first thing they ask is, can they repeat? Are they the team to beat? And if they not, why not? And the truth is simple. You have to look at every aspect to know if that team is going to be worth taking. And if they're not, then ain't no point of talking about it. There's no point of debating it. There's no point of trying to act like we need to do anything new. We simply just need to be able to accept it for what it is. Now, I've been talking for too long, because I've come to a consistency that sometimes people want to report things just to sound like they know what they're talking about. And sometimes people want to report things just to report them. I take pride in trying to give you the best, most unfiltered, most raw, truthful, unbiased media that you can get. That's my goal. That's what I want to do every single time. I don't want to come up with a story just for the heck of it, but I want to be able to produce something that you can look at yourself and say, yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, Reggie Bush is crazy. Okay. The Packers tried to pump fake and get some information out of a tight end that didn't have nothing to offer you about a new offense. And yes, if the Detroit Lions general manager Bob Quinn failed to do one thing, and that's get a backup quarterback, even though they gave Matthew Stafford a new contract, because this is the other point I left out on that, which is, why would you go out and get a backup quarterback who's only going to get a 4-year deal? And by the time that 4-year deal is up, you're going to have to repay him anyway. And now how are you going to repay a guy who sat for 4 years when you still got a guy who's under contract in Stafford? It just don't make sense to me. But again, that's it for this show, ladies and gentlemen. I've spoken enough. With that being said, I leave you with this great piece of advice. Don't be no chump, people. Please do your research.